Hi, today I want to talk about what I see as double-mindedness or double thinking or triple thinking, quadruple thinking. Where is the truth these days? Truth is a very movable feast, let's say. Looking at what's happening in the world and in our political sphere. Now, I'm not into politics, but I can just sense that I'm being manipulated and that we've all been manipulated, not necessarily by the politicians, but by those who advise them, by those in control of the media, the bloggers, just opinion formers, because things just seem to change at an alarming rate. To give you an idea, Jeremy Corbyn, the popularity that he had in the lead up to the election and even now is unprecedented compared to the fact that a year ago he was so derided, and even a month before the election, even his own party, many of them were saying that he's just not fit to be our leader. And a year, when they elected him, how many Tories and others sort of became Labour members so that they could vote for him as leader, because they thought that he would be a lame duck. And knowing his history, this is it. It was his history, it's his track record that formed these views. And the point that I'm trying to make now is he hasn't changed. He's the same person. It's just our perception of him has changed. It's what people want us to believe about him. So now he says the things that will give him popularity, particularly among young people, because in the lead up to the election he very much directed his campaign at young people. So here was the cool outsider, and that's how he was presented, as the cool, a little bit edgy outsider compared to the rather bland Theresa May image. But then there's Theresa May, the strong leader as she was. Now again, things have been manipulated, and now we're led to believe that she's a lame duck leader. We've been told that she's not suitable, and yet this is the first person, I believe, who actually, after the I'm not sure what terrorist outrage, it might be Manchester, actually admitted first time that this is not just sort of motiveless terrorism, but it's terrorism motivated by Islamic theology. And suddenly, after her saying it, suddenly everyone was talking about it on breakfast TV. Jeremy Corbyn, even Sadiq Khan, our Muslim mayor, was suddenly using Muslim words and saying things like "not on my watch," and then bringing me back. Well, we're talking about him now. Sadiq Khan himself. Okay, seems like a nice chap. After the Manchester terror incident, or particularly the London one, I saw him on breakfast TV and he was torn to shreds. He didn't have an answer. He wasn't obviously well briefed, and he didn't come across very well. But suddenly now he's the flavour of the moment, and those who were saying bad things about him are now saying the opposite. And yet it's only a week or two, and again he hasn't changed. But there's one thing I do want to focus on, and this is concerning this chap Sadiq Khan. And it was last night. No, I'm not really talking about last night. Was it last night? Was the Finsbury Park mosque thing? And of course, he's very right to come on TV and speak against it and suggest this was terrorism as well. But what he did say, he says, been working very hard to make sure London, that the kind of terrorist rhetoric is not sort of espoused on the streets of London. That we must not stand in any way for, or we should stand against anything that's extremist. And yet yesterday he allowed, whether he had the power to or not, you think he would as London mayor, an actual demonstration by Hezbollah, an acknowledged terrorist organisation who admit that their main role in life is the extermination of a nation state, the state of Israel. They were allowed to espouse such violent words and attitudes, a few hundred of them walking through the streets of London. They were allowed to do that, and then Sadiq Khan comes and says we're doing all we can to keep violent rhetoric off our streets. So, as usual, Israel's fair game, Jewish people are fair game. It's like, any definition of any phobia is okay if Muslim phobia, but anything that's anti-Israel, anti-Jewish, it just seems that it's fair game, as it always has been. And it shouldn't be acceptable to fair-minded people, and this is what I'm trying to sort of drive at. I'm hoping that you're fair-minded and that you're objective in the way that you think and that you evaluate and you look at the world. Don't let them manipulate you. Don't let the words of politicians, and particularly their spin doctors, make you sort of form opinions according to what they ask you to. I'm just going to finish with just two scriptures. 1 John 3:18, let us not love with words or speech, but with actions and in truth. And more particularly, Psalm 34:13, keep your tongue from evil and your lips from telling lies. The truth needs to prevail. False news, think about false news. It's always been around, and the idea of false news is false news itself, because it's not a new thing. False news has been around for years. It used to be called propaganda, and those of us who have been following the Israel-Palestinian conflict will know that false news has driven that conflict for the last 70 years. And only now are people acknowledging this phenomenon, but they're still not seeing how it has been sort of connected to the situation in the Middle East. Now it has hit our country. Let us see through it, and let us see where the truth lay and just follow the truth. So I hope this hasn't been too long and garbled. Have a good day.